Good afternoon, everyone. So for the rest of this month, I will share some tools with you that you can use to implement new habits in your life. So make sure that you have identified something that you want to implement, and you can try out more than one tool and see which one resonates the best with you. Small changes occur in the cognitive and neural mechanisms that are associated with what we call procedural memory. Now, procedural memory are the specific sequence of events and things that need to happen in order for something to, or a task to be executed, or a habit to be executed. So think of it like tying your shoelaces. There are procedural things that happen that you don't even think about anymore, like riding a bike, like brushing your teeth. So that has become an habit through what we call procedural memory. So there was a sequence of events, of things that had to happen. What we can do is we can use the same method to implement a new habit as well. And we use it very successfully, especially in athletes as well. So for anybody who's trying to adopt a new habit, getting into that mindset of procedural memory is very useful to overcome what we call limbic friction. Limbic friction is that mental block that you often experience when you try to get into a new habit, when you try to get into doing something new. Like if you want to get into the habit of going to the gym 3 times a week, you have that mental friction and mental, what a lot of people would say, I have a mental block in getting into action or actually implementing the habit. So it works very well to overcome that type of what we would call limbic friction in neuroscience. So how do we do that? We do that with a very simple visualization exercise. If you decide to adopt a new habit, you will think about the very specific sequence of the process that needs to happen to do the habit. So let's say, for example, you want to get up at 6 o'clock every single morning to do Bible study and to pray. That is a good habit to get into. You want to lay out the steps and visualize the steps in your mind from the moment, let's say, the alarm goes off. You're getting out of bed. You're getting out of what side of the bed? Putting your shoes on, maybe walking to the bathroom quickly, and then you go to the kitchen to make a cup of coffee. Then you put your robe on or whatever, anything that happens in that sequence until you are done with the activity. So then going to your study, maybe opening your Bible, putting on some worship music, reading the Bible, making notes, praying, the whole shebang. So what you want to do is you want to visualize every single step that is involved in that habit. The literature and the research are very robust about around this particular tool, and it's actually amazing to think that just visualizing it once increases your likelihood to actually execute the habit for the first time from almost unlikely to most likely that you will be able to do it. And that's only if you do the visualization exercise once. So that is amazing, thinking that if you can do that visualization exercise every single day, how quickly you would be able to implement that habit and effectively implement that habit, and how quickly the likelihood will increase that you will actually implement that habit. So your challenge for this week is to pick one habit that you want to implement, let's say over the next 12 weeks, and I want you to visualize the steps of executing that habit, leading up to the execution of that habit, and then start to visualize that every single day. It's not even going to take you 2 minutes. I want you to see, and you don't even have to do it with your eyes closed. Doesn't even have to be like, oh, now you're sitting in like what they would call a lotus position. It's none of that. You literally just take your mind through each and every step for the execution of that habit. And to make it even more powerful is if you can close your eyes and involve all of your senses. That will also amplify the experience for you, and it will amplify all of the neural connectivity that takes place inside of you that will eventually lead to the execution of that habit. So take a moment this week, practice this. I will share next week, I will share another tool with you that you can use, and the week after that. But make sure that you at least implement these tools in some way or fashion consistently for you to see the results. You cannot implement a tool just once and expect your life to change dramatically. All of these things that we want to do to improve our lives are things that need to be implemented consistently. And you will see the multiplication of that in your life as you implement these things consistently. So enjoy the long weekend, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.